It helps people be more enthused. It helps people more certain and less volatile and emotional and uncertain because they're taking missing information, becoming conscious of it and being more certain, and they're more present. Hi, I'm Dr. John Demartini. And for the last 52 years of my life, I've been involved in education, educating people on how to maximize their awareness and potential, to bring self-mastery to their life, and to empower all areas of their life. This has helped people in the area of their mental development, their business development, their financial development, family, social, physical, and even their inspirational, spiritual development. Anything to do with maximizing human potential, I've been involved in. For the last 52 years, I've also been developing a methodology on how to do that. And this methodology I call the Demartini Method. And this has got many, many applications. We've found over 1,000 applications for this particular method. What it does is ask you a series of questions to make you conscious of things you've been unconscious of, to help you discover the hidden order in the apparent chaos that are underlying some of the problems and challenges you face in any of these areas of life. And one of the areas that it has great application is in the business world. So I'd like to elaborate a bit on what people are doing with the Demartini Method in business. Now, the methodology was originally geared initially for helping people maximize their awareness and be able to resolve conflicts within themselves and others. And this was expanded over time. And people in business sometimes have challenges with employees. Let's say you're an owner and you have a challenge with an employee, and maybe you've hired somebody that wasn't as fully engaged as you hoped. You didn't know what their highest value is, and they were not necessarily screened and made sure that there was a congruency between their job duty and what they're going to be doing and what's most important to them in their value system. They're fully engaged and inspired to go to work. And they're not producing what you hoped. So now you end up having sometimes challenges with them and judgments of them. You have expectations that may not be met. And the Demartini Method is used to neutralize the charges, the valencies that you accumulate dealing with employees. And this ultimately goes back to you as a hirer, a manager, a leader, and how you're selecting people. But it also goes to what your expectations are. So the Demartini Method can be used on yourself to help you self-govern and to be more astutely present and objective in your selection of people. So some of the clients that have used the Demartini Method have done it to stabilize their volatilities and emotions and subjective biases and help them become more equitable and have more stability and objectivity when they're selecting people. So that's one application. Then if they have hired somebody and that person has not worked out as they've hoped, and they're not as engaged as ideal, and their productivity is lower, and now you had an expectation that's unmet, now you can resent somebody and you can now have a charge on them. And as you may have learned in your life, anytime you are resentful to somebody or they didn't meet up expectation, if it's extreme, it can occupy space and time in your mind, run your life, create intrusive thoughts, make it difficult to sleep at night, and be ruminating on all the time and distracting. Just like you can have somebody that you think you're infatuated with because they're an overproducer, you can then be having occupied space and time in your mind, the infatuation. Anything that you put on a pedestal or put in a pit, you infatuate or resent, can occupy space and time in your mind and distract you. And the Demartini Method is designed to bring those back into equilibrium, because if you're infatuated with somebody, you're blind to the downsides. If you're resentful, you're blind to the upsides. If you use the Demartini Method, you hold yourself accountable to see both sides, so you see something objectively. And instead of going into systems one, emotionally thinking or emotionally feeling before you think and react, the Demartini Method helps you go into systems two, the executive function, allows you to think before you react. It allows you to be more objective. It allows you to be less volatile, allows you to be more stable, in other words. It allows you to see things as they are, not as you skew them when you have emotions that distort things. It allows you to be more respectful in your dialogue with them, in the way you communicate to them, in their values, so they're more productive. It allows you to also dissolve some of the emotional charges that build up, so you're more stable and less volatile and reactive and less autocratic and more respectful in the way you manage people. So that's one of the applications. But sometimes, as one of my facilitators that I've trained used in Shell Oil Company, a lovely facilitator of mine was used in Shell in Houston, Texas, just for conflict resolution. Because sometimes there's conflicts between, executive teams and managers, managers and supervisors, supervisors and salespeople or employees. And wherever there's a conflict, the Demartini method is used as a way of dissolving the conflict. Because a conflict is basically what I call a disowned part. We only judge in others that we see in others that we have in ourselves, but we're too proud to admit that we have it. And the Demartini method helps you own what you see in others and calms down the prides or shames and judgments and allows you to respectfully communicate objectively. It's a very powerful tool for that. And it's a science, and it works every time if you apply it the way it's been trained to do. So conflict resolution is what it's being used for. Helping you be more objective in the hiring process it's being used for. It's also being used on intimidation. Sometimes people are in sales and they meet somebody and they're intimidated by him. So those that have learned about the Demartini method utilize this as a preemptive strike to go and level the playing field and identify within themselves what they see in the people that they're about to sell to, so they're not intimidated. So they're just present and they're having dialogue instead of walking on eggshells, worrying about losing a client, for instance, or being intimidated by some powerful person that you're about to try to sell to. So it's used to level the playing field because the Demartini method takes whatever you see in others and allows you to have reflective awareness and see within yourself what you see in them. This is used also for leaders who may be comparing themselves unwisely to somebody else that they look up to, and then beat themselves up and minimize themselves. Anytime you put somebody on a pedestal and infatuate with them, you'll tend to minimize yourself in turn because you're too humble to admit what you see in them inside yourself. And so sometimes leaders are distracted from their own strategies and inject ideals and strategies and values from other people they admire, and then create chaos and confusion in the workforce because there's a lack of integrity within themselves about what's really valuable to them. So the Demartini method is designed for dissolving intimidation for sales, subordination to outer leaders that make them feel inadequate. So leaders use it to dissolve inadequate feelings or distracting of emotions, conflict resolution, as I said. Sometimes you have people that are coming to work and they got marital problems or children problems. And the Demartini method has also been used to help them dissolve their conflicts and their judgments on family members or spouses, which are distracting them from being productive. And so people are using that. And again, the lovely lady from Shell that was using it for Shell Company was also doing that, resolving conflicts at home, conflicts between departments, conflicts between individuals, judgments. Anywhere where there's a judgment and inequity between two people, the Demartini method can help bring those back into balance. See, if you look down on somebody, you'll tend to project your values onto them and try to make them live in your values, which is futile. If you look up to somebody, you'll try to get and inject their values into your life and try to live in their values, which is futile. When you look equally to somebody and have equanimity in yourself and equity between you and others, you tend to respectfully communicate with dialogue with somebody and you both win and you have sustainable fair exchange. Every symptom in business is actually a feedback mechanism guiding us to have sustainable fair exchange. And in every relationship dynamic, and the Demartini method is a science on how to create sustainable fair exchange. When you complete the method on somebody that you're judging in some capacity, At the end, when you're done, the respect, the dialogue, the communication, the appreciation, the love goes up. You know, it's Peter Lynch, who wrote One Up on Wall Street back in the 90s. He was with Fidelity Investments. And he said that after he's done his quantitative and technical analysis on stocks, then he's selecting for investments. He actually goes and flies over to where the headquarters of the company is and identify a number of factors inside the company. He's looking for people who are grateful for their job, loving what they're doing, inspired by the mission, vision, enthusiastically working, grateful, as I said, and they're skilled and talented and enthusiastically working, but they're really skilled in their talent. They're certain about their skill, in other words, and they're present when they work. He says, if I see that, which is I call the 6 transcendentals, if he sees that, he knows to invest in it because the company's going to appreciate and value. The Demartini Method is guaranteed, if followed to exactly as instructed, to give you those 6 things. It helps people be grateful, helps people love, it helps people be inspired, it helps people be more enthused, it helps people more certain and less volatile and emotional and uncertain because they're taking missing information, becoming conscious of it and being more certain, and they're more present. Because when you're volatile and you're distracted by impulses and instincts and infatuation, resentments and judgments, you're not present. So those transcendental states, as I call them, which is Peter Lynch used to invest in quality companies, are guaranteed if you follow the method to completion. And the reason being is because if you infatuate with somebody, you're blind to the downsides. If you're resentful, you're blind to the upsides. The Demartini Method asks you questions to help you see what you're blind to. It's taking the unconscious and making it conscious so you can be fully conscious. See, when you're infatuated with somebody, you're conscious the upsides, unconscious the downsides. When you do the Demartini Method, it's helping you see the downsides to balance the upsides, to bring things back into an equilibrium. And so that state of equilibrium is where you're stable. That's where you're seeing things more objectively. So the application of the Demartini Method in these areas are quite profound. Again, almost any relationship. So this could be a relationship between you, let's say you're the CEO or the founder, and the executive team. The executive team, the manager and the supervisor and employer, sales team with customers. They could be infatuated with the customer, resentful to the customer. They would seek out and be intimidated by or avoid and be resentful to. And all of those emotions undermine the business. And so the Demartini Method is a very beautiful science. If followed to the letter, they can guarantee you equanimity within yourself, which is stable. And what it does, the Demartini Method takes you out of the amygdala function, which is a deep nuclei on the brain, and puts you in the executive function where you have self-governance. So it is a science of self-mastery. It is a science of communication. It's a science of what I call ambition. Ambi means both-sided. And the condition, T-I-O-N, means a condition of both-sidedness. You're able to see things objectively. You're able to use your executive function. You're able to use your forebrain and have foresight. And this area of the brain is enhanced by the Demartini Method, which is called the executive function in the brain, the medial prefrontal cortex. And what it does is it helps you have foresight, strategically plan, mitigate risks, transform fantasies into true objectives, and communicate respectfully with other people, so you're more likely to have sustainable fair exchange in the people and the transactions you interact with. It also stabilizes the emotions. It allows you to manage money more effectively. So people use it for money management. If they've had a big gain, it calms down the infatuation and elation. If you've had a loss, it helps you stabilize that. Anything that disturbs your emotion and distracts you. So any distraction at work that you might have, anything, a gain of a customer, loss of a customer, any type of gain and loss, the method is used to help you dissolve it and allow you to not be distracted by it. I have people in businesses that are in the trading and financial business, even options trading and currency trading or any kind of trading, and they use the method to stabilize their productivity, to not get elated or depressed about what they've gained or lost, and allow them to stabilize their state of mind. So this works in almost any relationship dynamic. It works within the relationship within yourself. It's a very, very powerful tool. I've been using it and developing it now for all these 52 years. I started developing it at age 18. I'm 70 now. And I've been teaching it for about 41 years in some capacity and training people and using it. They're using it in all different capacities in business or in personal lives of the people in business. And as you know, if you're having conflicts at home, it could distract you at business, conflicts and issues with your social life, your family. All of these are resolvable. I've yet to see an issue that's emotionally volatile that occurs in daily life that this tool can't neutralize and bring you back into stability and make you more objective and allow you to have more reason. Now, some people, thrive on a lot of drama. And if you want drama, don't use the method. The method is designed to dissolve the drama that you have in your life, the trauma drama, and allow you to have reason and objectivity and to have you make sure that you're in your executive function. I find that people that are more objective go farther in life than people that are highly subjectively biased and volatile. As Warren Buffett says, don't expect to manage money if you can't manage your emotions. And Robert Greene talked about this in business. Don't expect to be a leader if you can't manage yourself. In fact, self-governance, the executive function, is a governing function. It calms down the amygdala's volatilities and distractions, allows you to be centered. So the Demartini Method is a science to do that. It's a series of very precise questions that make you consciously aware of what you've been unconscious of and allows you to see both sides of events and see life on the way, not in the way, and allow you to appreciate and have gratitude and love and inspiration, enthusiasm, certainty, and presence. Again, the transcendental states that allow you to have an advantage, competitive advantage in the marketplace. So I'm certain that people who utilize the methodology will have a competitive advantage over people who don't. Now, I've been teaching this method in my signature program, The Breakthrough Experience, for many, many years now, 36 years, in fact. And I have thousands and thousands, in fact, about 150,000 people. Most of them are entrepreneurs in business. And once they learn the methodology, they incorporate it. They can't even imagine themselves without it now. It's like when they first expose it to it, they don't realize the significance of it. But over time, they see it has wide application. Again, 1,000 applications we found. And it definitely can help people who are in business. So I wanted to take a few moments to share that because people ask me about that. How do you use it and and how can it be used in the thing? Anybody who's been through the method and used the method before starts to see that. It's kind of obvious. But for somebody who's never been exposed to the method, I'm just letting you know that if you are having some of these challenges I mentioned, just know there's a solution to it. And it's something you can learn and apply and something over and over again. And I'm certain once you do, it'll be part of your repertoire, one of your tools that you'll use the rest of your life. It has helped thousands and thousands of people in business at all different scales of business, from people in the sales department and people in the management department, people, executives, even the CEO, who may have lost their vision. It helps reestablish inspired vision. It helps people get back in there where they can see. And that's the thing that stops companies from expanding. Sometimes they plateau because they've lost their vision, and it helps them reestablish their vision. It stabilizes their life and it makes life less dramatic and less volatile and more inspired and grateful, etc. So just want to take a few moments to talk about the significance of the Demartini Method in business, in case you're a business owner or somebody working in business and would like to have more stability and more growth.